Mama taught us how to sing in harmony.
Jamspace podcast. That was Foolish Blues from Canaan, and those are my good friends, Jase, Brandon, and Jeffrey. And can't really say where they're from because they're spread all over the damn place, but an integral part of the music scene that I came to find in Texarkana, and it would not be the same scene without these guys, most definitely. So, my guest today is the front man of the band you just heard. His name is Jase Bryant. Let's get into the episode right now. Jase, how are you doing, man? Sorry it's taken me a while to connect with you tonight.
It's all good, brother. I'm doing well, man. I've had a long month, and I'm tired, but I can't complain about that. It's just it's just been busy, and that's better than the alternative. So,
man, I wanted to have you on the show because you're one of the musicians that I look up to the most in my hometown.
Oh man, appreciate it.
Yeah, man, your band, for people that don't know, I mean, your band Canaan is like this fucking heavy blues power trio, but you're like a psych rock fucking prog band at the same time.
Yeah, man, it was those are some good old days, man. I miss it a lot.
So, how are things with the other guys from Canaan? What ended up happening with that band?
Well, we had been working together for about 2.5 years. We started making we finally started getting our material kind of tight and organized, and of course it took us so long to do it because Jeff, the drummer, lived 2 hours away, and it was hard to have organized rehearsal and so on. But there was no other alternative, as far like that. Jeff was our drummer, and it wasn't about trying to find somebody local. He was the guy. He was the guy that kind of made the sound in a lot of ways. You got to see Jeff play live, and you know how much of an animal he is on the drums. And but we had been working for about 2.5 years. We finally started getting ready to do a record. And about that time, Brandon, our bass player, who was really the glue that brought the whole thing together, he went on a vacation to Nashville. And while he was up
came back.
Well, he came back, but only for like 2 months. Yeah. He went to a job fair up there and put in an application. And as soon as I heard that he was doing that, I was like, oh well, he's gone, because I knew, like, just knowing the guy that Brandon is, I knew he'd get a job. And so we at that point we were like, well, we got to get this record done before you leave, because we can't do it without you. So we had to kind of rush through it, and I'm really proud of the material that I wrote and that we put together, that we composed together, and even proud of the recording that we got to do in a short amount of time.
That was a great recording. Where did you do that again?
We did it at Wolfman Studios with Jason Tedford in Little Rock, and it was basically one of those things that we only had 3 days, and when you're doing an album, you really want to have at least several weeks, to kind of, you want to be able to go in. And what we did was almost like just a little demo, because we went in and laid it down and did some overdubs and then spent a day mixing. And it would have been nice to be able to take the mix that we had and sit with it for a couple of weeks, and then go back and then spruce it up and get it where it needed to be. But overall, we're proud of how that product came out. And then when
do you think that the days of living in the studio and making a killer record like the Stones or like Zeppelin, that shit's kind of out the door, man? We don't really have that luxury.
Yeah, it doesn't really. I mean, there are places that do it, and that's actually what we did, but it was just only 3 days. Mm-hmm. The studio we were at the time, Jason had it was a home studio. It was in his house, but it was his basement. He had rigged his whole basement, and he'd done it all himself. And he had a room that was just cabinets and guitars, and you could basically pick whatever cabinet you wanted to run through, and then from that room there was a little intermediary room that had a couple of keyboards set up, but it was also kind of his vocal booth. And of course, all this stuff was soundproofed and airtight. And then moving the other side of the vocal booth was his main studio room where he had his drums, and that's where we recorded live, which consisted of him putting a bass cab in this corner that he had set up to mic it the correct way, and then I plugged into I can't remember exactly what head that I used of his. It was a Marshall, but I plugged into that head, and then he had it wired to go into the cabinet room. And he had my guitar mics in a different room, but then he also had like a little snack room with a mini fridge and some coffee and everything like that. And then he had a bunk room with a couple of bunk beds and a big ass TV with his, we could log into his HBO or his Netflix or whatever. So we actually did get to live in the studio for a few days. And I know that there are other places that still do that, but it's not. It's probably not the same. It costs a lot of money to do it that way. And back in the day, that was more of a, like, hey, we're going to spend 6 weeks doing this.
There was a lot more money in rock and roll back then.
yeah, for sure. But we got to do that. Like I said, I think I would have liked for us to have a lot more time to do that. And so, but what we got is what we got, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, I've been doing some recording as well, and I'd really like to be there in the mix process, once all the tracking is done, because it's usually like once I get done tracking, I'll hear from my guy once he's got it mixed up and stuff, and then we'll go back and forth over messaging and shit, like make this a little lower, do this. It's so time consuming.
I think you can achieve. It's like a new skill set that you have to learn in this this internet age. This world of where everything has to be done a little bit more remotely, especially considering the past year and the pandemic and everything. Everything's being done remotely. It's a new skill set that you have to learn how to be able to produce something that way. But it's definitely really challenging. And yeah, I agree with you. I much prefer to like be there, listening to it as tweaks are being made, so that you can kind of voice your opinion right then and there. You don't have to wait for like, here's a mix, and then you send back, well, I'd like this and this and this to be changed, and then they change it, and then you're like, oh, well, you changed it too much. Maybe split the difference,
and then that takes a few fucking days. You might as well be communicating by pigeon.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's very time consuming, and it's also much more difficult to communicate via text or email or whatever it might be, what exactly you're wanting from the product, versus being right there and being able to talk it out face to face. You can kind of get there a little easier, and so that definitely makes it more difficult. So I definitely 100% agree, man.
This current release
there in that mixing process.
This current release I got coming out. I was having these issues because I recorded it in Yuma and then moved to Phoenix, which is a couple hours apart.
Right.
So I was doing the exact thing we're talking about, back and forth over text and email, and I'm like, dude, can I just come down there and sit with you?
Day, yeah.
And he was super worried about COVID. He actually caught COVID. And he was real paranoid about it, and so like I ended up getting a COVID test for some other reason, and it came up negative, and I showed him the test. I'm like, yo, dude, I'm clean. I'm like, can I come over? I'll wear a mask and everything. And so then he was like, yeah, come over. So I was finally able to sit down. Anyway, so did you guys ever get any label interest in your band and Canaan?
Man, well, so I didn't really know much about what I was doing when we got that record done, as far as how to shop to labels and everything. And I learned, sorry, that was my text going on. I'm going to put my phone on silent so that doesn't happen again. Hold on.
No worries. My shit's going off as well.
I didn't really know what I was doing as far as how to shop to labels. That was really my first experience trying that out. And when we put it out there, and again, I think that, well, I'll just put it this way. I put it out to sent it out to, a couple dozen labels, and we'd already put it up on Bandcamp and everything like that. And I learned later that even the small labels, they don't like you to put your stuff out there before you shop it. And we'd already kind of had it out. But most of the response I got was just real kind of passive, hey man, I dig it, but our rosters are full for the year. We can't take on any more new bands. But I do remember the one response I got that like kind of stuck with me, and that's why I say that I wish we had more time with the record to get it done a little bit cleaner and a little bit more, on that. What do they call it? Red something. That level they want it to be mastered on. Anyhow, Small Stone Records is one that got back to me, and they said, man, we really dig the tunes, but the whole record, before it can be released, needs to be remixed and remastered. And that was like the most honest response I got from it. And so, like I said, I think if we'd had a little more time and to get it done full blown, because even Jason Tedford, the guy that recorded our album, even he said, when we done it, he was like, oh, you got yourselves a nice little demo here, that you knocked out in 3 days. I was like, man, we're trying to release this. And he's like, oh, you want to put it on vinyl, and you want to, oh, okay, well, we'll see. And so,
wow.
Yeah, it wasn't, I don't think it was, like I said, I don't think we had enough time and resource to get it done to actually have a good label release and put us out there to get distributed that way. But again, after Brandon moved to Nashville, which was shortly after we finished the record, we had another bass player come in, Chris Denman, and Chris is fantastic musician, and also just like one of the best dudes I know, but also not from Texarkana. So now I'm dealing with two bandmates that don't live in town with me, and just the logistics of us getting together to rehearse and to put shows on and to try to put something together, it just became almost impossible with all of our schedules. And so Chris played with us for, 5 or 6 months probably, before Canaan kind of fizzled out. But yeah, that was kind of the gist of how that came to an end, which is one of the saddest times in my life. if I'm not lying, I like I said, I miss that band and I miss that material terribly.
Man, I fucking love to see you guys play live. I remember seeing you fucking playing a Moog at one point.
Yeah, we brought Jeff's little mini Moog, and we tried to incorporate it, and it just became a little. To be honest, I didn't really know what the hell I was doing.
It sounded good to me. I might have been a little fucked up.
I knew what key I was in, and then I was just twisting knobs and trying to make some weird sounds, and have some fun with it.
No, man, it was great. I mean, God, I miss those shows.
Yeah, man, same here. We do have. I don't know exactly when it's going to happen. We're shooting for probably late summer. But we've been asked to do a reunion show, and we've been asked that actually back in the fall this past year, and looked at a couple of different dates and actually booked one, and then that was actually for earlier this month. It was just supposed to be a couple of weeks ago for a reunion show, but with all the COVID shit going on, we still have the venues around here are open, but they're shutting down dance floors and pits and everything. And so it was kind of thing, if we were going to play a show, it would be to people seated at spaced out tables and stuff. And I told the guys, I was like, man, if we're going to go through all the work of doing a reunion show, and I want to blow it up. I want to sell 200 tickets to it, in a small little dive bar. And I want everybody to be up in my face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want to do it right. And so we're just kind of biding our time. we're just kind of biding our time with putting that together. But we do we do plan on doing stuff like that here and there throughout the future, and uh, it'll just be one off stuff. On a further note, I have been throwing around a lot of ideas for a second Canaan record, but I don't really have a band to do it with right now.
That was my follow-up question.
It was going to be kind of a, I don't know, I've got 4 or 5 songs that I've been kind of noodling with that fit more of that Canaan style, and if I can find the right guys to put it together and move it forward, then I will. But that's also just a matter of time and circumstance,
The only person I could think of that could match close to Jeff's style would be the drummer from Factory, because they fucking
Michael.
Michael,
man,
he's a killer drummer.
And that band is on a whole other level than Canaan, man. That's like when you talk about Michael drumming, he's playing that traditional grip style with the Mitch Mitchell.
Yeah, I seen a picture of them two side by side. You couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He's got that whole vibe, and then you got Jeremy, who's kind of the heart and soul of that band. It seems like he's kind of the bass player seems to always be the glue, and he's the vocalist as well.
Absolutely.
And then you got Seth, who's just a prodigy on the guitar, man. Just rips like I don't know. He plays like Isaiah Mitchell from Earthless. He pulls off some shit like that
I met him
way above my level.
I was washing dishes at Red Lobster when I met him. He was working there also. I would have never thought that he fucking could shred so well.
Oh man, he's just one of those guys that like and I should probably try to be more like this, but my free time I do other things than just play guitar. But he's one of those guys that's like, if he's not working, he's not doing anything else, like he's got a guitar in his hands and he's always playing, he's always practicing. And
so I noticed that like Jeffrey kind of fell off of my radar for a while as far as social media and stuff, and now he's just recently popped back up.
Just within the past year I've seen him start to do his of course he's got his massive record collection, and he used to always post listening, and now he's doing that again, and
he releases his own solo material, huh?
Yeah, and he's put some solo material out.
What does he call that? I forget.
Man, you put me on the spot.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I can't. So his old solo material was called "Schematics for a Blank Stare."
That's it.
But I don't know if his newest stuff is released under the same name or not.
And gosh, how many instruments does this guy play?
Well, see, he's I don't know if you know this about Jeff, but back in like the 90s, he was a DJ.
Yeah,
he did EDM stuff.
I've seen some old footage of this.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah.
I didn't see EDM. What I saw was like old school. Fucking.
EDM was bad. Yeah.
What do you call it? I don't even scratching. He was like,
he was doing like house and hip hop, scratching the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Of course, he's a rhythmist. He's a guy that just jams, and so. But he's a very talented keys player, and obviously very talented drummer. And then since I've known him, he's also taught himself the bass guitar and the flute. He played there's a couple of flute flourishes on the Canaan record that he threw in.
I had that flute stuff didn't stand out to me until a couple of listens, and I remember one day driving.
Yeah, they were just little touches, here and there.
You hear it, and it's like, oh yeah, there goes Jeff.
Yeah, he's going for that that Jeffro toll, man.
Oh yeah.
No, Jeff is a special guy. He's a diamond in the rough, really. Like, he's out of bumfuck Arkansas, and has put out some records that I don't know if you know this, man. One of his schematics for records he found it going on for sale online. Somebody was selling their copy of it through and just one of those vintage record portals that people buy and sell through uh, for like 90 or $100 for one of his records, because they're so rare. These only ever released like a few hundred copies of any of his stuff.
That's
And
amazing.
and there are just people out there that dig into that style of music that are
He's
willing to pay 90 $100 for it, and it's pretty incredible.
he self releases those.
Yeah, I know that he used it's not I think they're called Cosmic Records, but it's not strictly a label. They're basically distributors, I think.
Cosmic
I think
Artifacts.
yeah, that's what
Okay.
I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And they just kind of distribute, and they'll put your stuff out. They'll print it to vinyl and stuff, and I think that they just take a small cut. And I know
Oh
that
yeah, I've heard of this.
but otherwise, I don't think that he's never had any label representation on it. His stuff, it's always been self-released.
Nice. Well, that's
But
amazing, man.
yeah, no, he's a very very special guy, and anybody that's listening out there, I definitely would recommend listening to Jeff Stuff, Schematics for a Blank Stare, and following along with him, because uh, he's the real deal. Basically, like, he doesn't give a shit about anything else. Like, all he cares about is making music and making it his own way, and he does it all on 4-track tape machines, and everything is analog, and you don't find many guys that are you get a lot of bedroom composers that are using Pro Tools or GarageBand or whatever they might have on their computer. You don't find a lot of guys that are doing analog stuff just all on their own, and making it sound as good as he does.
Yeah, and I see how that could be a hard. It's hard to continue on with a band if you're not gonna be going with him. Uh,
Yeah. Well, and it was like I said, the when Canaan started, it was just me and Jeff, and we went through about 4 bass players. And Jeff, being a self-taught musician, can kind of be difficult to play with, because it's hard to, I came up in a world of classical music and understanding theory and everything, and so I was always, 8 bars of 4/4 signature, and then we switched to 6/8 right here, and I can communicate in that musical language. And I talked to him, and it looked like it, he just all by feel, and he didn't understand, so it made it difficult to communicate. And finding a bass player took a while. Somebody that had the patience to kind of learn his groove, and that's where Brandon came in. And Brandon he had never played bass in a band. He actually just acquired his first bass, and it was
so it's like
for a
fresh
show
meat
opening
to
up.
you. You got to teach
Yeah,
him, huh?
man.
Oh yeah.
Well, man, I didn't really have to teach him. I mean, he
Yeah.
already played guitar. He
Yeah.
knew the notes.
Hmm.
But I remember specifically that Mothership was coming to town, and we had opened up for them. One of Canaan's very first show. Actually, it was our very first show, opening up for Mothership at the Cottage, which is no longer a venue here. And we had a different bass player at the time, and we hadn't had very much time as a group. We only played 3 songs opening up, and then we played a couple other shows. But Mothership came back, 6 or 8 months later, and we hadn't really been a thing because we hadn't found a bass player. And when Josh booked them, they said, "Can we get Canaan to open up again?" They were a good time. And so I was like, well, hell, I got to find a bass player. And then Brandon, like, I was around Brandon at the time that I got that call, and he was like, I just picked up a bass from my cousin, and I'll give it a shot. And he sat in, and that's when I was like, okay, here's some fucking magic. And it just spiraled out from there.
That's awesome. That brings us to another point I wanted to touch on, man. With Mothership
Yeah.
playing with all these massive bands coming through, and you guys having the opportunity to share the stage with a lot of these up and coming bands from
We
the
got to play
scene.
with some really badass bands. Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second. So, who was bringing all these shows to town?
So that was in the heyday of Josh Foster booking shows in town. Josh, as you know, is one of my oldest friends, and and
Shout out to Josh.
I learned a shitload of music from Josh. Even back when I was 12 and 13 years old, when I first started hanging around him. Uh, I kind of, I grew up in a musical family, but I wasn't born into rock and roll. I had to learn it at a later age, and I grew up with classical music and gospel music, and then the more some of the old '80s pop. My folks listened to Phil Collins and Billy Joel and stuff like that, and so that's kind of where I was coming from. And then meeting Josh, I'd go over to his house and stay over on the weekends or whatever. He would have those old CD out, like those CD books that you'd flip through and you had 4 to a page or whatever.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
he just had. I mean, I don't know how many of those he had that were just completely full of everything from. And it's mostly heavy stuff. It was mostly Atreyu and Opeth, and then your classics like Metallica and Sabbath, and he exposed me to a lot of that kind of music. And when I moved back to Texarkana, which has been a little over 10 years ago now, he and I and Tiffany all got a place together, and that was about when he started he started the Phantom Killer Promotions and started trying to book bands, and pretty much he was he was the voice of it. He did all the booking and maintained the relationships, and my role in it was to help the show go smooth. And so I'd run sound, and I'd make sure the bands had what they need with our meager setup that we had, which was basically miking a kick drum and miking a vocal, and hoping that we could make it sound decent enough in these small clubs. And then our big thing, I think that a big reason we were able to have so many bands back all the time was our hospitality. We'd have them over at our house, and a lot of these bands that we had, were small time and on the road and not making much money, and we'd give them all the money we raised on the door, and then say, come to our house and do a load of laundry and take a shower and stuff. And these were bands that weren't used to that. They were used to sleeping in the van, and wearing the same shirt for 6 days in a row. And so the hospitality thing was what kind of put us on the map as far as making Texarkana a spot for bands that, for bands to come through and bands wanting to come through. And we had an enthusiastic audience, and there were some really great years of live music because of what Josh started.
And
so,
how have you watched the scene grow since the beginning of that? Because when I met you, I was leaving Texarkana. We were playing our show. It was basically
we had a couple of good years before you had to move away. But
no, I mean the very first time I ever met you, Jase, you ran.
Oh, okay, no, yeah. I'm thinking about when you went to Corpus. That's right.
Yeah, you ran sound for me one time.
With Three Finger Lid?
No, we were called Flatline. This is basically Stronger Than All.
Okay.
And this was at the Blue Iguana.
Yeah, and I remember that show, man.
You didn't even your hair wasn't even past your ears, man.
Oh, dude, you're making me feel old as shit right now.
It was one of those setups, like you said, where you had like a mic on the kick drum and a vocal mic.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the mic on the kick drum was probably also a vocal mic because we didn't have a real kick mic.
Yeah, and the kick drum probably didn't even have a fucking hole in it anyway. And then that was my last. The next day, I fucking left town for work, went to Midland or something. Anyway, I fucking move around a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you guys call me up and hey man, we got a gig for your band. This is when I was living in Corpus and I had Stoned or whatever. We had the band Stoned.
Yeah,
And you guys,
I remember y'all coming up and doing that one. Yeah.
you got us playing with fucking Wofat, you know, and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so this is how much
Oh,
the
man.
scene had grown, is what I'm getting at. And then by the time I finally moved back, it must have been a good 5 years that I was gone, and then I moved back, and it's like every other weekend you got Moss Generator over here, you got Paul
Yeah,
Bearer, fucking Destroyer of Light,
yeah, man.
Mothership, you know, American Sharks came through there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just insane. I mean,
Yeah, man, it was like I said, I remember that we got a lot of especially through from Texas bands, but not well, some other regional band, Paul Bear being from Little Rock, and we got a lot of good PR. I remember specifically Destroyer of Light like finished a tour, and they finished a tour that they had done one of their early gigs with us here in town, and one of their last gigs was coming back home. They were in Houston, I believe, and did an interview with some publication down there. And one of the questions that they were asked was, "Do you have any towns that you recommend for bands to stop through?" And the guys from Destroyer of Light said Texarkana, this small podunk town right on the border. But the guys that are booking there and handling this scene right now are like they take care of you. And like I said, it was just a genuine sense of we just the whole thing started for Josh. The whole logic behind it was we could drive 2.5 hours to Dallas or 2 hours to Little Rock or whatever to see shows, but a lot of these bands are looking for shows in between and looking to fill up nights. Like, why not just bring them here and then they can crash on our couch,
mhm.
and then we get to essentially not have to travel and see the show for free, and then also like get to hang out and party with these guys that we all look up to and appreciate their craft and appreciate their art. And so that's how that was the whole concept of it, as far as why we did it in the beginning. And then it kind of started snowballing to a place where we couldn't really handle the volume of it anymore. It definitely got to a
Literally,
point.
figuratively, and literally.
Well, and yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, the thing is Texarkana is, still a small town, and the crowd that comes out for heavy shows is not affluent. They're like they can't afford to go to a show every weekend, and sometimes we had 3 shows in a week.
Very
And so
supportive, though. There was a
no,
nice
yeah, they were
economy.
about it, but and the thing is like then we'd start being like, man, if you can't pay to get in here, then just come and we'll let you in for free. But then when you get to that point, that's a dangerous line to walk, because then suddenly it's like, all right, well, we guaranteed this band $300 or $400 or whatever it might have been,
Mhm.
and but if our crowd can't afford to pay it, then we have to come out of pocket, and then suddenly you're at a point of like this isn't sustainable, you know,
And then speaking of
and
volume and sonic sense, I fucking was running sound because I became the sound man for you guys for a short stint.
yeah, you did.
When I came back from Corpus, I had a nice little PA, man, and I was more than
Mhm.
happy to lend my services to you guys. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah, man,
Josh
and things
was.
went up a level when you did that because what we were working with was rinky dink at
Hey,
best.
and I learned a lot doing those shows. But
Yeah,
I was running sound for Destroyer of Light, and the fucking guys at headliners told me they gotta turn that shit down or they gotta fucking go right in the
yeah,
middle of their song. And then I'm going up there and I'm like, hey. The club owner wants you guys to turn it down. I gotta be so. No, when you
yeah,
said
man.
you
I mean,
couldn't handle the volume, I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, no, we couldn't fucking handle the
No, well, when I
volume.
said I meant
No, yeah,
the
I
volume
I
of
knew what
shows.
you
Okay,
meant, man. I was making a
okay.
joke. Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
no.
I learned
And
a
that,
lot.
funnily enough, I remember we had Jucifer one time,
Hmm.
and over at the Silver Dollar, which is where we had kind of our longest tenure as far as having a club that we got to book at regular, and we had Jucifer over there, and their setup took up the whole wall. Of
The
course,
entire wall.
like they could barely fit it in there, and they were so loud. It was, you know, but somehow Destroyer of Light was even louder.
They are a fucking loud
incredible.
band.
Yeah. I would say that probably the loudest show I've been to was Destroyer of Light at the Silver Dollar.
I grew up. So this was, man, I always hung out with the older crowd when I was a kid. Growing up in Texarkana, there wasn't a lot for young kids to do. There wasn't much of a music scene. There was a heavy metal, like hardcore sort of scene when I was growing up. We used to play at Dave's skate park.
Yeah.
And I was in like a heavy metal thrash band. They X'd us out. They said we were a 21 and up band, but none of us were even 21.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the kind of the bane of Texarkana. Really, is that the scene comes and goes in these waves, and I remember that like we had our day with it, and it hadn't really bounced back in the same way that it was.
No, but the point I was getting at was like, it's like I didn't really hear of people knowing about these bands that everybody. So basically, the titans of the music that we've come to know and love is like these bands like Sleep and Caius and like stoner rock and shit like that. I never really knew of a lot of people that liked this kind of music. There was a few.
Well, and that was kind of Josh's magic when he was doing this in his day.
And it's like the good
tying all those things together for everybody.
You ever see like when the good acid hits a town and everybody turns into hippies or something? that's like what it was man. It was like the good music hit the town and people showed up. I think there was a thing that happened too, man, like a cross-reference thing, because this Wakarusa Fest started going down up there, man, and then that's where everybody was going to these EDM, getting all heady and shit. So this big, like, EDM sort of, like, head culture has emerged in Texarkana as well.
Yeah.
But those two scenes sort of integrate.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, like, I'm not big into a lot of EDM stuff. I've listened to some of it, but I mean, what I'm
saying is a lot of those guys in those scenes, they hang out at the stoner and doom shows.
Right. Well, what I was getting at is like there's a definite, like, if you go to a Bass Nectar show, I mean, you got headbangers there, man. Like, and it's heavy. It's heavy music. It's all bass and low end, just like if you go to see Wofat, like that is all bass and low end, and people that go to a Bass Nectar show are literally banging their heads, like they'd be at a heavy metal concert.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's definitely some crossover between those scenes, but there's also they're also very different.
I think that was what our scene was. It was just a mixture of like fucking people that love stoner and doom, and then people that grew
our pal Joe Kennedy is like a perfect example of that. Like, he's kind of I would put him at the crux of that even. Because he loves heavy stoner rock. He loves heavy EDM stuff, but he writes like heavy folk music,
Yeah, he's got a fucking Modest Mouse vibe. I don't know. We made an album together in the studio.
Yeah.
What he ever
Zombie.
did with it.
Yeah, I remember your little studio that you built here in town.
No, dude, we went to Frank's house and did some shit.
Oh, did you go do it? Okay. Well, I remember y'all did some stuff at your studio that you'd built.
He's holding it hostage or something. I guess he's waiting for me to die.
I didn't realize that the final cuts were done with Frank, but I remember seeing y'all. You did some videos and stuff.
We actually opened up for Destroyer of Light, that show, and I was forced to ask them to turn down. Funny stuff. Shout out to Joe, man. Fucking release the album. Set it free.
No shit. Yeah, man. Let it go. Love you, Joe.
So we spoke a little bit about the scene. I'm hoping to have Josh on, man. We've been planning on it. So it started out as Phantom Killer Promotions?
Yeah, that was what. So there was actually another guy involved for a short time. I don't know if you know him. You might, Bob LeVay.
I
Um,
know Bob. Bob fucking
yeah,
played bass
yeah.
for
I
Stronger
was
Than
just
All.
okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember if he was in one of your groups or not, man.
Yep.
Uh, but
Yes, sir.
but when Josh first started doing it, Bob was involved, and they were kind of that was they that was the Blues Iguana. Did a few shows there, and then we did a few shows over at the skate park. Um, and Bob was involved with that early on, and he kind of had to fall off because of his family and everything. He
Hmm.
just couldn't stay as active. But that's where the Phantom Killer promotions kind of came from. Was Josh and Bob,
That's such a
and like I said,
crazy.
I was like the quiet third part. I wouldn't say partner, but I was just the guy that ran the sound at the shows.
Anybody that doesn't know anything about the Phantom Killer, if you want to know something interesting about our hometown, just look that up. I mean, this guy was fucking murdering people with trumpets and shit.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's what it showed
Yeah,
in the movie.
it was a trombone.
Yeah.
He put a knife on the end of a trombone and like
Uh,
played it while he stabbed somebody with it.
it was a
I think
serial
that was back in
killer.
the 50s or something, and they actually never found out who. Well, apparently there are people that know who he was, but he never got caught or convicted or anything.
It's probably like
It's a
one of
serial
our
killer from way
fucking
back in the day.
one of our uncles or some shit.
Yeah, yeah.
We're all related to him somewhere down the line.
The movie The Town That Dreaded Sundown. There was the old movie, and then they did a remake. But that's about the Phantom Killer.
What else is there? The Falk Monster. What do you know about that?
uh, well,
I'm
there's
just
this guy
kidding.
named John Yeti, and I think he might be the Falcon Monster.
I think he probably is the Falk Monster. Hold on one second, Jace. Give me a second.
I mean, his last name is Yeti. Come on. But yeah, that's some good old Texarkana history for you there.
Funny little anecdotes about our little town, man.
Yeah.
No, so I'm hoping to have Josh on here, man, to get the full story.
Oh man, I'm sure he'd be glad to be on. I hope y'all can work that out. Like he's got a lot more insight than I have to offer as far as how I feel like I can give you the bones here, and he can give you the meat.
Well, I know, like, when I opened up for WoFat and Kent Stump, well, that's because, like, Mothership, I mean, the Motherload, shout out to
Yeah.
Gator and them.
Yeah.
Texarkana has had a history of fucking cool music. I know, like, Agents of
Yeah.
Oblivion has played there in the past.
Yeah,
Pantera
yeah,
used to come through.
Yeah, we had Dax Riggs solo several times.
I got to open
You know
for
what I mean?
him because of you guys, man.
Yeah,
For bringing him
I got
in.
to open for Dax a couple times. That was really cool.
And then so for Kent Stump, well, I went and sang, some down songs with Motherload, and Kent pulled me aside and he goes, "Hey man, you're pretty fucking badass." So I'm like, that shit
That's high praise, man. That's high praise.
that affected me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
And then to open up for Dorothea Cottrell. And,
Yeah.
And
From
her
one
to be
hand.
so stoked about my music and shit. And
Yeah,
she said,
yeah.
"You got anything to sell?" And I thought she was talking about some pot or something. I said, "No, I'm fresh out right now." But no, man, like for somebody like me and for somebody like you, that's huge, man. Just to be able to
absolutely,
rub
man.
shoulders with these
I
people.
remember like having in the Canaan day, Kyle Jewett from Mothership said something to me one time that, and it really stuck with me, and it really made me work harder with Canaan at the time. He considered us like one of the top 5 or top 10 bands that were coming up in Texas at the time.
Nice.
And coming from a guy that's playing in Mothership, and they're touring with COC and going to Europe and everything, and that's high praise, and I was I was glad to be a part of something cool like that, and I
You're like,
wanted to
I'm
push
just
it
happy to be
further.
here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely was. It was just kind of a, it's one of those just phases, those times in life, and that's what this town goes through with its music scene. Like right now, it's pretty quiet. Uh, we still have the Aero Bar and that books heavy bands here and there.
It'd be ashamed
And
if we didn't mention Darcy and the Silver Dollar, where a lot of this went down.
Charcy.
What the fuck is wrong with me? I'm sorry,
No,
dude.
no, you're good. No, man, Charcy was like, oh man, that lady, she was just like this grandmother or great aunt figure that was running the Silver Dollar, and she never really wanted to be doing what she was doing. Actually, her husband Bo had come down with cancer, and he was the one that bought the bar and got it going. And when he'd come down with it, it kind of fell to her to run the place, and she didn't know what to do with it. And that's where Josh came in, and Josh and I kind of helped her start running the place and booking shows, and she was just this so sweet. And she'd drink her scotch and soda all night with
and
us,
let us
we had
do
these
whatever
heavy
the
bands
fuck we want.
and just kind of let us run the place.
Dude.
And then she'd just go pass out in the office and sleep till the morning, and I hate that I actually haven't seen her in several years and got to speak with her, because she was really the the bulk of that Texarkana scene for that time was done at the Silver Dollar, and that was an amazing time. And she was the one that allowed all that to happen. So
yeah, we got to give it up for Carol and Tony for taking us all
absolutely.
in and adopting the scene with the Aero Bar.
Yeah, that was kind of where, like, when the Silver Dollar days ended, and that's when I started working at the Aero Bar as a bartender, and Josh kind of stopped booking, and I had kind of grown real passionate about it, and so I went to them and told them, hey, let me book some bands. Let me see if we can get some stuff, because they were looking for stuff to generate business. And I was like, we can make this a spot for it. And of course, my approach was they weren't really down with heavy music, the hard rock and the heavy metal, and so I kind of had to ease them into it. And I remember like finally convincing them to let me book Silo, because I was like, you guys aren't going to like this. You're not going to like this band, because it's, nothing that's their speed. But I was like, but you will like the number of people that show up for it. Mm-hmm. And it was actually the same thing the first time I booked Mothership at the Aero. I was like, look, it's going to be loud and it's going to be a struggle, but you guys are going to have 150, 200 people in your bar, which is, for that particular bar is like elbow to elbow full. And so we,
man, I was just telling somebody,
I got to kind of carry the torch a little bit for Josh after he stopped booking. I started handling that at the Aero.
You did, man.
Had some good times there for about a year and a half.
It's a struggle when there's only one spot to book for,
Yeah. Well, and again, this town being as small as it is, and that was kind of my approach anyway. I didn't want to just book heavy stuff. I wanted to diversify our crowd and find people that were interested in other music, because it's, when you have just heavy music all the time in Texarkana, you can't get that crowd every weekend, mm-hmm. For every show. And so you gotta throw in a country band, throw in some Americana, throw in some pop music, throw in some different things, whatever it might have to be, just to like keep a fresh crowd coming back every 2 to 3 weeks or every month, versus trying to get the same crowd in every weekend that can't afford to be out every weekend,
I think what you guys did has really had a lasting effect, because we can pop down there on a couple weeks' notice, throw a big show and fill the fucking house up. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely, man. That spirit is still here.
mm-hmm.
100%. That spirit is still here. And
Which,
people, and but that's not just anybody either, man. That's you. Like people will show up for you because for anybody who's listening out there, if you don't know about Zac Crye, he's one of the hardest working motherfuckers in the business. And you say you look up to me and you look up to Canaan. You should know that I look up to you too, brother. I'll just take a little moment in this interview to suck your dick a little bit.
let's not do it too much, man. I appreciate it, man.
But no, man. I've always respected your work and your ethic about it. You work harder than just about anybody I know with this, and I'm not the only one that thinks that, man. That people show up for you too. So
yeah, man. I had the opportunity of jamming with some cool motherfuckers down there too, man, and just being friends with cool motherfuckers, and just basically what we got down there is just one big family.
It's a big family, man. I was about to say we built a family here that and that shit will never go away. Like it's kind of one of those things that we might not talk for 2 years, but then we talk and then we're still brothers.
Yeah, man. That's another thing I wanted to talk to about real quick, man, before I let you go. Because when I come down there, usually we play a show, and sometimes I come down there just to play a show, and then sometimes I'll have other shit to do, and I'll let Justin talk me into it. He's like, let's do a show, man.
If there's anybody that can talk you into it.
Yeah, that motherfucker can talk me into just about anything. So, I don't always get to see you, man, because you're always busy gigging. You are gigging. Yeah. So when Canaan broke up, it didn't really break up. It just sort of disintegrated a little bit.
Yeah, it fizzled out. Yeah.
And you continued on as a working musician. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, man, I'll give you a little rundown on that. So the Canaan kind of fizzled out. I remember that. It kind of ended. That would have been a little over 4 years ago. It been about 4 years ago in December, this past December, and we had booked a gig with Jason Tedford, the guy that did our record, for New Year's Eve. He wanted to have us up. He was throwing a big party at his studio, and he had a cool thing about Tedford's place. Also, like I told you about his studio earlier, and the bunk room and all that shit. But he also had in his backyard, he had built this little side building called the Preserved Moose from it was his little home bar. And basically, So he has a daughter, and his daughter asked him to build her a clubhouse. And he was like, well, in a few years, you're not going to want the clubhouse. Like, I'll just build you a bar. And then later on in life, you'll want to hang out here anyway.
Smart man.
So, yeah. And he has this little shed out in his backyard that can hold maybe 20 or 30 people with a bar in it and a little tiny stage. And he had booked the full band to do it. And then things kind of fizzled out. And so I had to contact him and say, look, I can't do the full band anymore. And excuse me. I still went and played Canaan songs, just acoustic.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the last gig I played for about 4 months. And then this lady named Taryn Ashley hit me up, and she was a part of a country duet. And she and her partner were on the outs. And so she'd asked me to start filling in some gigs with her. And this was more of a cover band gig at the time. And so I credit Taryn a lot in my life, because I went through several months of not playing any music other than just at home here and there, but not playing live anywhere. And it got me really down. And her getting me back out, even just being in a cover act, was refreshing and reminded me that it doesn't matter if I'm playing my music or somebody else's music, that I just have to be doing it. I have to be out there playing live. Um, and so she got me active again, and she'll always be a sister and a very special person to me because she got me out there again. And we worked together for about a year, and she moved away to Colorado. And then when she moved away, my good friend Paul Holder, who's a very talented drummer and veteran.
Yeah, Paul
As
played
far as,
drums for my dad for years, man. I've known Paul
yeah,
my entire life, man.
yeah. I don't know why I didn't think of that when I was just talking about. I know he was out there with Ace for a long time.
Oh yeah, dude. I grew up in that little jam room out there behind Gary's house, man.
We'll not share the stories.
Yeah.
But anyway, but Paul had worked with Taryn and I for a little while, and then he had started working with this other lady here in town named Heather Lynn, and he brought me on board to that outfit. And I've been working with Heather ever since, and now Heather and I have been working together for right at 3 years. And we write songs together here and there, and we're actually getting ready to work with a guy named Greg White out of Fort Worth on a record. We're going to go but he's like a legit producer that's worked with some big names and stuff. We're having to raise some money to work with him, and we're going to pay him to not just record but actually produce an album for us.
And this is like Texas country kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's worked with Cody Jinks and a lot of guys in that circle.
I'm talking about what you guys are writing.
Oh, what we're doing, man. So what we do, I don't know if I'd call it Texas country because I don't think it fits that vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But it is country music, and it is a little bit. I'd go with a little bit more like Southern rock,
Okay,
rather than call it Texas country. But we pull from a lot of different things, and just my own writing kick lately. I've been writing more in the country music vibe, which I've enjoyed. But I pull from Willie and Waylon and Merle, and the old stuff.
Oh yeah.
And but I'm trying to find a way to not just mimic the old country, and find a way to put a fresh take on it.
I think there's a lot of
still
people
retaining that simple, like, 3 chords and the truth approach to country music writing.
There's a few people that are killing that right now, like Tyler Childers.
Yeah, man, I can name several. Like right now, Tyler Childers is kind of king for me as far as country music goes. He just and it's because he's obviously a very talented writer and singer.
He's got a very unique voice.
But he also lives it. Like he does, of course, he does the Nashville thing, but he lives out in the middle of nowhere, cabin on a hill in the woods, whatever it might be. Like he's the real. He doesn't just sing about it. He's living that country life.
So is that the sort of vibes that you guys are shooting for a little bit?
Well, it's not. That's not just the vibe we're shooting for. We're shooting for our own vibe, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But we're, like I said, we like to incorporate rock and roll into what we do. And so I would say Southern rock would be like the just the most generic and easiest way to define what we're doing. And we're still we're at a situation where we want to go into the studio with 20 plus songs and then whittle it down to the best 10 or 12.
Mm-hmm.
And so and then get it produced. But I'm coming at it with a lot of different influences. I've been digging into this kind of real country folk Americana vibe a lot more lately. And so Marcus King, like I said, Tyler Childers, Marcus King, Brent Cobb is a guy from Macon, Georgia, that's put out some work that I really like. the one of the biggest guy like right now. This I'll tell you about. This is my new obsession. He's actually an East Texas guy from the Longview area that's based out of Fort Worth, and he runs in the circles with Cody Jinks and Ward Davis and those guys. His name is Paul Coffin, and I know we've talked briefly
The
about
cocaine country dancing guy.
cocaine country dancing. We've talked briefly about Psycho Fest this year in Vegas.
Uh-huh.
Paul Coffin is actually on that bill. I don't know if you know that,
No,
but he's on the bill for Psycho this year.
that's crazy.
And and he like I don't know how much you listened to him, but I think you would really fucking dig his shit because he makes me think of like a new age Roy Orbison.
Huh.
He's got that deep velvety. His nickname is Big Velvet. He's got that deep baritone country voice, you know. Uh, and but also like a prolific songwriter. Um,
I'll have to
and
check
he's
him
been
out, man. I've only
yeah,
heard
man,
that
you need to
cocaine song. That shit's funny.
yeah. The cocaine country dancing is kind of his breakout.
Yeah.
But if you actually dig into his other work, uh, man, he's got some great songs, and you'll hear all kind. I mean, 80s synth meets country meets that folk Americana. Um, anyway, so these are the kind of vibes that I'm kind of drawn from right now as I write and as I try to put together stuff with this band. And I should also say working with Heather and Paul and Brady has been a like a real blessing for me personally. Um, these guys are legit pros. Heather works her ass off to keep us busy. Even through the pandemic, we were very lucky to continue to be able to find. She was like, I don't give a shit about COVID. We're going to go find private parties to play if we can't play the clubs. And I was one of the lucky musicians that got to keep working through most of this past year. And of
That's
course,
what
which
I
of
wanted
course
to.
I needed.
That's what I wanted to compare and contrast for a little bit, man. Well,
Yeah.
just a little bit longer, if you don't mind, Jace.
No, man,
Thanks
I'm
for
here with
being
you.
on here, man.
Yeah, of course. I'm with you.
Yeah. So, shit, I was talking into the wrong side of the mic. Anyways, I was saying thanks for being on here. I just had a couple of things I wanted to compare and contrast here about playing in a band, trying to build something from the ground up, as opposed to being a working musician, which kind of entails playing covers and shit like that, and playing to the crowd and not
Yeah.
really playing your own songs.
Yeah.
How is that different, and what's the experience like? You know, how is it a different experience?
Well, it's very different. So working in a cover band means I get paid.
Right, absolutely.
uh,
Let's talk about it. How important is
I
that?
don't.
That's super
Well,
important, right?
I couldn't do it on this level if I wasn't getting paid. I couldn't take off, because on the side. I'm a bartender and a trivia host, and I do I'm a hustler. I do a lot of different things to make my ends meet. And I being a bartender, especially like I'm gone on the weekends traveling with this band, I couldn't afford to do what I do um, as a musician without getting paid at least something decent to do it. And so it's that's it. That's been its own challenge. Just constantly. So our big thing is that we've been working together for a few years, and we can't just keep playing the same set over and over again. So we're constantly learning new songs, and and uh, and then of course you got to fill requests. I actually had to fucking play Freebird for a gig. We had a gig a few weeks back at actually at Barksdale Air Force Base,
I
and
saw
they were
your
honoring.
pictures over there. That looked pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. It was actually the gig itself was weird. The being there was really cool. But they were honoring this colonel at this event. It was an award ceremony, and they had this specific colonel that they were honoring. He was like the star of the show for the day, and his only request was Freebird, and I was like, man, I've avoided learning that song in my life.
You didn't
And
even know it.
no, I never even played. No, like I never wanted to learn it or
Yeah.
anything, and so I learned all the basics of it, and then shit the bed on the solo, of course,
Uh-huh.
because that's a lot. But you have to do stuff like that
When'd you
to
shit the
keep
bed?
working.
Like 1 minute in, 5 minutes in, seven
Oh,
minutes,
no, it's
about
probably like
8 minutes
probably
in.
like 30. No, see, here's the thing: we didn't do the whole thing. I told the guys, I was like, we're gonna do the song. We're gonna do 4 bars of this part of the solo, 4 bars of that part of the solo,
And then
16
and
bars
then we're
total,
out of
and we're
here.
done. We're done. I'm not jamming this song for 15 minutes, man. I'm not doing it. But it's that kind of work that you have to do. And the truth is, that makes you like, if you're willing to sit down and commit to it, it can make you a better musician. It's about your perspective, about your approach to it.
Well,
I sat down and it was the same thing with like learning the outro to Hotel California. Like I learned some licks, and then now I implement those licks in other things that I do. I sat down with a YouTube video and I learned how to play a solo note for note, and now I've got something new to add to my arsenal.
and I
And
think
so
it
stuff like
opens
that.
the door for you for real
Yeah, yeah,
opportunity too. Like
yeah.
when you're a band and you're writing your own songs, it's like no one gives a shit until it's like no one likes you until everyone likes you. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, absolutely. Like
And,
you gotta put your name out there before you're
and so
and have it out there big before you're noticed as an individual or as a band.
And it's like
And
whenever you start out with this dream of like this huge grandiose dream we all have of like I'm gonna be a rock star and
yeah,
I'm gonna write that fucking song that's gonna catapult me into fucking stardom or whatever the fuck I always think.
right, right.
And
Yeah,
but no, like you know what I mean? That
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
fit into the vernacular of you gotta go out every night and you gotta play what the people want to hear and you gotta play these songs, which
yeah.
it seems conflicting, but it's honestly not because
Man,
they say
yeah.
the Beatles in Liverpool were a whole different band from the Beatles in whatever the fuck the saying is.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
man.
what I
Like,
mean?
and the thing is I don't know. I think it's just something as happens as you get older and more mature, and you
Mhm.
kind of let go of like the dream of rock stardom, and you realize that that's like no matter what kind of music you're playing, like,
You're gonna be
and no
out
matter
playing, and that's good
well,
enough for you.
yeah, and well, and no matter how good you are, uh, like your chances of breaking through in that regard are slim to none. No matter how good you are, it's a right place, right time kind of thing, and and so you get older, and then you adjust to the dream, and that's where I've gotten, and I'm actually like it's made me a lot happier doing what I do. Is like my dream is to just be a professional musician, and if I can just simplify it at that, then I've got there. Like I get paid decently to go and play music with my friends, and and that doesn't mean I'm settling at that doesn't mean I'm stopping what I'm doing. I'm not trying to achieve more, and I'm actually on a big writing kick right now. uh, my my latest goal is to write a song that I can sell to somebody that's already famous. you
Right?
know
Yeah,
uh
absolutely. Hey,
and so
but what I was talking about was like it just if you were with your band, you wouldn't be able to play out night after night for hours on end like you do for 2 or 3 4 hour sets. You know what I mean?
right, right.
With your own solo material or your original material. And
Right,
so,
right.
like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
it's
like being out. It just like you said. I just was wondering um, how different it is for you because for me, it's like hurry up and wait. It's like I gotta sit and wait for the call. You don't want to wear out your local scene, but now you can't tour all the time because you got work to do and shit. And so,
yeah,
it does make sense that being out and playing and doing like covers and but you guys are
yeah.
writing new material, So
Yeah. We're not just a cover band. We have, like I said, we've been working together about 3 years, and Heather already went. Well, when I joined up, she already had a 3, 4, 5 songs at least, original songs that I had to learn. And then since then, she and I have written several together, and I've written several that we do, and they fit more. Like I said, they fit more of that southern rock, still bluesy, but in country rock and roll kind of vibe.
that fits the age old
Yeah.
fucking adage
But
of
we
like
can't.
play. You gotta play what the people want to hear, and then you slip in a couple of your originals. That's what I've always been told.
Yeah. That's exactly what we do, and we're learning how to do that better and better. Like I started building because I'm the band leader. Heather's the lead singer, and she'll sing 3 or 4 songs, and then I'll sing lead on a song just to kind of give her a break. But as a band leader, my job is kind of calling out the songs and keeping the show going. I build the set lists, and I build our rehearsals and stuff like that. And that's also been a very good learning experience for me, like learning how to lead and listen to my band better on a more professional level. But yeah, we have to adhere to what people want to hear. We get like we got "Sweet Child of Mine" requested so much that we finally added it to the set list. And
man, with a woman singing
you try
that
to
song,
to play what people want to hear. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I heard like you don't go around with a key looking for a lock. You find the lock and then you build the key for it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're and it's about listening to what people want to hear, and then we eventually add it in. But we also try to keep it. We try to keep in touch with what other cover bands are doing around town or around the area. And try to build, we cover a lot of stuff that other people don't, that are still hit songs, crowd pleasers, but other bands aren't doing them, like some of the Fleetwood Mac stuff that we do, some of the Eagles stuff that we do, stuff like that, that nobody else is really doing around the area. So we can kind of stand apart that way. They're not just the same old tried and true covers that, everybody is doing. But
all right, well, Jase, man, I appreciate you coming on here and fucking. I know I was running a little bit late to the show, but
nah, brother.
Thanks for hanging out.
I always got time for you. I always got time for you, man. I appreciate you having me on, and I hope I gave you some good material to work with.
Oh, absolutely. I don't really fucking edit anything. I just let it all hang out over here. Fucking. It might be quiet over there right now, but it's not going to be quiet on May 1st when I come through there.
No shit, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you in town and catching up, brother.
Yep. See, this is what I'm talking about. You can't come to my show because you got your own show, which is good.
Yeah,
which is good.
Yeah, man. I got work. I got a job to do.
I hear you, man.
But we'll definitely be able to link up in between.
Well, Jase, you want to let people know how they can reach out to you on social media and check out everything you guys got going on?
Yeah, so my main gig is with Heather Lynn and the Deacons. That is LINN if you're looking for it. And we are looking to start working on our first album together later this year. Otherwise, on social media, I'm just Jase, Jase Bryant, and I'm around.
Oh yeah, Jase. I'm having Josh on here soon, and we are going to continue to tell this story. And then I was thinking maybe we get a 3-way going on soon.
Oh, dude, I'm always about that menage a trois.
All right, brother. Well, hey, let's definitely link up when I get to town, man, in May. Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing more important to me than making sure I get to see your beautiful face. Oh, stop it, Jase.
When you're in town.
Stop it. Hey, man, I love you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
I love you, too. Love you so much, brother.
All right.
Later on.
Later.
That was the wonderful Jase Bryant from the band Canaan. That's Canaan. Check them out on Bandcamp. This is their song, Black River.